I don't know if there's interest in having any sort of collaboration with Ruby SpaceX. I don't really know much about her. I'm down to have a conversation. That'd be cool. But let me check this out. The purpose of watching this is kind of get kind of an idea, maybe a better idea of who she is and what she's about. I know the Thorps fixate on her. The Thorps fixate on her quite a bit, and they kind of treat her like that she is their locale. It's like, okay.
Oh my God. And as mind melting as it is.
Oh, she's talking about the Grace stream where Grace and Ben Thorp were going over Ruby's I guess meltdown or something. I have no idea. I didn't even really watch that stream, to be honest. It's 8 hours long. I'm not gonna commit 8 hours to watching Ben and Grace. No.
As mind melting as that was, I did go on. It was really last moment, but Ethan Ralph messaged me, or he didn't. I commented on his tweet, and he replied, and he was like calling the show to dunk on Grace, and I was like, sure, because they'd been like, dragging me and shit, but also like flattering me.
Flattering you, dunking on you, and flattering you. They're just trying to use you. They're just using you. That's all they're doing.
Because it's kind of flattering that this like young girl thinks I'm her competition. That's just an inherent win for me.
Ruby, I don't know anything about you, but I'm pretty sure Grace does not see you as her competition. Grace does not see you as her competition. They've said it. They've said what they thought about you. They see you as a locale. They see you. They make fun of you, dude. They make fun of you. They dunk on you. They use you. Any sort of flattery is bullcrap. It's just coming out of Ben and Grace just to manipulate you. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's all it is. And they seem like for some reason stuck in their orbit. I don't understand. There's like this. Yeah, you just seem kind of stuck in it.
Me. Because if she really wanted to, she could go much farther than Ruby. If she had the inner stuff to make it work, but she's not willing to.
If she wanted to, she could go further than Ruby. I mean, are we going to compare channel stats? Because I don't want to do that. I don't want to go there because Ben and Grace already do that. This whole thing of like you comparing yourselves to each other is not really good. That's not good. And I would say, I would ask you, is that working for you? Are you, because I get the impression that you're kind of frustrated with them talking about you and constantly using you as content. And I get the impression that you're doing this in a way to act like it doesn't bother you, to kind of talk about it, but also kind of come off as like it doesn't bother you. But I'm not exactly sure if that's how it's really being perceived.
Take one step into the future. She's stuck like in her father's nutsack eternally.
Well, yeah, Grace is stuck with her dad. Grace loves her daddy. A little too much. A little way too much. And she will never leave her dad. That is just what it is. No amount of any effort whatsoever will ever separate Grace from Ben. Except for time. Time will. There will be a time when Grace will reflect on her life. But that time is on now. That for her is going to be a reality check much later down the road, like 5 years from now. 5 years from now, what does Grace and Ben look like? well, Grace is going to be uglier. That's just what it is. She's going to be fatter. That's just what it is. And Ben's going to want nothing to do with her because he's going to want a younger model. Oh, man, it's disgusting.
And I just accept that's the situation. But what I will appreciate, and I hope they keep up with this attitude of competition where it just use that anger and spite and energy to fuel you to do better. That is always the right move. Always. It's never the right move to just target and try to destroy people, to elevate yourself. That almost always backfires. Anyway.
Wait, back that up. Is there a message that it's better to make content out of spite than to try to lift people up? Did I catch that?
Energy to fuel you to do better.
Energy to fuel you to do better.
And I hope they keep up with this attitude of competition where it just use that anger and spite and energy to fuel you to do better.
Okay, so in her mind, there's a in Ruby's mind, she's competing with Grace and Ben Thorp for what? For views? For money? All right, there's a competition. And that competition is fueling her YouTube do better.
That is always the right move. Always. It's never the right move to just target and try to destroy people, to elevate yourself. That almost always backfires.
Okay, it's never the right move to target people to destroy them to elevate yourself. Okay, I get. All right. Yeah. Well, they do. They target you to lift themselves up for sure. They target other people to lift themselves up. I mean, yeah. I would say, I would ask, would it be better to move on from them? What would you do better? Since they always target you to harass you, to mess with you, and it seems to be bothering you. Would you feel better if you were to not even think about what they say about you? Like, don't even watch their stuff or that sort of thing, because you're not going to stop them, be able to stop them from talking about you, right? That's their efforts of doing that. They're trying to pull you back in. But to pull you back in, you got to pay attention to it. I'm curious what Ruby does if Ruby does her own thing. What does Ruby do when Ruby does her own thing?
Fires. Anyway. What's up, little bunny? Hey, Doge. Just stop talking
at one point, I know Ruby was considered herself to be a friend of Grace. And then it all backfired. There was like a betrayal there. And I think, my impression of it is that it was a bridge that burned, yeah. But when that bridge burned, I think Ruby did feel betrayed. I think Ruby felt like it, took that pretty hard, took it to heart, if you will. Because at one point, it almost seemed like she thought Grace was a friend. And that makes it more difficult for her to kind of move on from Ben and Grace, because it's like at one point they were a thing in her lives. They actually stayed at her place. That was crazy. That's something no one should ever do. Never invite the Thorps over. No. So I understand it. It's not easy for her to move on from Ben and Grace, but when she made it seem like Grace looks at her as competition, I think that's Ruby kind of coping with the reality that that Grace doesn't see her as a competition. Actually, Grace looks at Ruby like she's beneath her. That's what's happening. And I think this whole comparing themselves to each other is not very helpful. Grace is going to continue to do it because in her mind she's winning from it. She sees herself like leagues better than Ruby. Even though no matter what Grace does, she's still that woman who's the daughter that's attached to her dad in very unhealthy ways. The other day, wasn't she wearing a bra, some sort of lingerie, like trying to look cute, but she just looked ugly and fat? Like, Grace can't do lingerie videos. I mean, go ahead. She could, but she just looked like a fat cow in her lingerie, and no one wants to see that. People would flag that video down just being grossly offensive visually. No, disgusting. If you're gonna wear lingerie, pull it off, man. If you're fat, you shouldn't wear lingerie. It's just like that. Anyway, so like, but it doesn't seem like it's helping Ruby to compare herself to Grace, or to even really think about Grace.
About them. I know. I'm perpetuating the cycle. That's why I'm saying I'm pathological. And
okay, look at that. She's even aware that she perpetuates the cycle, but she feels like kind of trapped in it. She looks like she feels trapped.
Just stop talking about them. I know. I'm perpetuating the cycle. That's why I'm saying I'm pathological. And I will say that they definitely pay more attention to me than I do towards them. I don't restream every stream they do. Doge, I don't know if you know the extent of it, but they've gone above and beyond to get my attention, and they have it. And it's Grace put on lingerie and is already launching the OnlyFans. It's, but nauseous thinking.
But okay, so Grace doing that stuff, how does that affect you? How does that involve you? Why, Grace doing that, the OnlyFans thing, why does that involve you? That doesn't involve you. That's not Ruby doing it. That's Grace doing it. Grace isn't you. I know you said you're pathological, and it sounds like you realize that you were kind of stuck in this cycle, and that you don't want, it's not good for you, but you can't help yourself. It's like what your mind wants, what you know is logically better for you, is way different than what your body wants. Like, because it seems like you don't really have control over like what you do, like your actions, even though technically we all have control for what we do and all that, but it's like impulsive decision making, and just being reactionary, reacting to whatever Grace and Ben say. Well, maybe it helps you to kind of look at it in a kind of a cynical way. You reacting to what Ben and Grace do doesn't really make you all that different from that of a puppet on a string, with Grace and Ben, controlling the strings. Now, if you respond to them in a joking way and it's just like you're just having fun with it, that's one thing. But like it seems like it's causing you stress. Seems like it's causing you a lot of stress there. That's what I gathered here. And yeah, I mean, maybe we could do something more. Ruby said we got an invite to talk to Ethan Ralph. Ethan Ralph is just going to use you too. Yeah, I did reach out to her to see if she would collab. The one person who's kind, the one person who'll listen. Be like, okay, maybe we could work on healing, and maybe the healing could be, let's remove ourselves from Ben and Grace completely. Let's work on that. Grace getting in the OnlyFans and doing stuff. Even she did the most heinous thing with her dad on live TV, on live YouTube. It doesn't involve you. If it causes you distress like that, like if Grace and Ben were to do like a makeout stream, like Ruby would probably like lose her mind. Now, I would obviously make content out of it and be laughing at it, but I wouldn't be stressed out about it. I wouldn't be stressed out about it at all. But maybe it's better for all of us just to move away from that disgusting trash fire of a family. So I looked at it a little. Okay, she seems to be self-aware, but she's also aware that she's kind of trapped in it, kind of like an addict. You know you shouldn't touch that booze. You know you shouldn't touch that stuff, but you can't seem to help yourself. I get it. I'll tell myself that every night. But I can't help but goon more and more. All right. Anyway, that's enough. You guys let me know if you guys want to venture down this road or not. We'll see what happens.